Welcome back to the Jack Tomczak Show. I'm Jack Tomczak. That's NASCAR Kelly.
Hi.
And we are listening to the only icon the state has or ever will have, Prince. What about Bob Dylan? No. Bob Dylan is embarrassed that he's from here. He even changed his name to get away from this place.
Okay.
Robert Zimmerman?
Yeah, I know Robert Zimmerman to Bob Dylan. I get it, but like a lot of people.
Damn you, Bob Dylan.
Is Jesse Ventura an icon?
Nope.
No.
Nope. Okay.
Nope.
No. Is his name Prince?
He also changed his name.
Yeah.
It was Jim Janos.
Yeah. Anywho, speaking of people who are not icons, all of us in the room,
Yep.
Alycia Gruenhagen, welcome to the show. You're running for the U.S. Senate.
I am, and I don't mind not being an icon at this point.
Yeah, it's a lot of work, I think, to be an icon. You can miss, and then you're infamous, and I'm not sure that's a good thing.
But we
or
did
notorious.
just lose an
Notorious.
icon, right? Hulk Hogan. That was kind of sad.
Hulk Hogan's an icon. Jesse Ventura, not so much.
Yeah, Hulk Hogan is whatever. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
he'll go. He's going to be brought up for decades.
You did a good job at the RNC, I'll tell you that much.
Yes,
Did a
he
nice
did.
job. Mm-hmm.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, I watched his speech at the RNC. The RNC to me is just a big party.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
Indeed. All right.
He was very America.
You're running for the U.S. Senate.
I am.
First question everybody gets, who are you and why are you running?
Okay, so my name is Alycia Gruenhagen, and I grew up in Minnesota, of course, in rural Minnesota, and I always say in the heart of Minnesota, farmland. I've been all over a little bit, but I actually have been in the background of politics, particularly Republican politics, for a long time. The last time that I was necessarily active in Washington was, I believe it was 2002, when I had a job as a congressional intern out in Washington, and that was my first exposure. And actually, I loved it.
For
I
who?
did learn a lot. Congressman Mark Kennedy at that time.
Oh yeah,
Really
from the
good
6th
guy.
district.
Yeah, he was wonderful.
I was interning 3 years before that on the Senate
Oh,
side.
that's interesting. Yeah. So I spent some time there. I saw how things work behind the scenes. I also just liked Washington politics. And personally, I liked it better than really the state level Minnesota. There was just something about it that kind of got me. And as I talked to people, I realized that some people really do fit well on the state side and they have no desire to leave and go to Washington.
Mm-hmm.
And some people really like it at the federal level.
Okay.
So I was drawn to that. So anyway, I moved on. I did help a lot in the background for different campaigns, but mostly it would have been my dad's different campaigns then for House in Minnesota, then for Senate. And just saw a lot of policymaking and policymaking drama in the background. So I often have the experience where I see people who I feel like I know, and they don't necessarily know me because I've watched them on TV. I've learned about them through watching floor debates and just political stuff. And so sometimes I see them and I'm like, oh, I should hug you. I know you. You've supported my dad, you know? And they're like, who are you? You know? So yeah, I mean, I feel like
As
that
a famous radio person, I get the other side of that. Just random people coming up and hugging me because they think they know me.
I get people come up and go, I know your voice. I had one last weekend.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of thought that when I got your voicemail. But anyway, for me, for my political career, I actually tried running for office in 2020, and then in 22. I ran for Congress in the 7th District both times. We can talk about that if you want to. And then after that, someone asked me if I would consider running for Senate in 24. And I said I was kind of praying about it, thinking I would like to because I like federal level. And I said I would, and then said, what did I just do? What did I say? So I went through that. I debated at Farm Fest because I've never run for the endorsement until now. So I ran at Farm Fest, I was in the debate at Farm Fest in 2024. Amy Klobuchar, Royce White was the endorsed candidate there. And then Rebecca Whiting was there with Libertarians. A couple others, too, that I'm not even thinking of. Amy Klobuchar was there. So that was good. And I got a lot of really, really good response from the audience. And a lot of people said to me, why didn't you run for endorsement? And I said, I just didn't think that I had much of a chance, so I didn't try. And they said, please do next time. And I heard that then at the RNC. I went to the RNC later. I passed up my business card and I said, I'm running for U.S. Senate, but I'm not endorsed. Didn't even run for endorsement. I'm just doing this, kind of going directly to the people.
But you ran as a Republican?
I did.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So you were in the primary then?
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. And I think I won my own 2 counties.
Congrats.
Which is great, yeah.
Yeah.
And I did
More
okay.
counties than I've won.
I think I was around 15,000 or something votes in the state of Minnesota.
Okay.
And good experience and got to know Royce a little bit. And in that race, endorsed him, and stood with him in the fair booth, and later, and just continued to kind of work the Republican message and the message for Trump, because I'm a big Trump supporter. And so, yeah, I ended up at the RNC. Someone invited me as their guest. I loved it. It was just wonderful to be there, to hear all the people. One of the big things I noticed, just FYI, how many women were on stage at the RNC, and how they came across was very feminine. It wasn't bully and tough and,
Feminine women.
Yeah, it really was. It was beautiful. And so much heart. It was just a beautiful event. I really did appreciate Hulk Hogan actually there. His message was very America. If you go back and watch it, it just feels like I love America.
Hulkamania, pro or against?
Do I know enough about Hulkamania?
I'm
not much into wrestling, I'll be honest.
Lady.
I liked his heart for America.
Okay.
Just as much as I like John Wayne's, to be honest.
Okay.
I go back with Hulk Hogan till when I was 7 years old, watching AWA wrestling on Channel 9 on Sunday morning. So I've known of Hulk Hogan for a long time. I had a question for you, though. Like, that's about your political experience. Like, that's more than I even knew about what you've run. And I'm not in the 7th, so I don't have as much familiarity with you. But outside of politics, like, what's your field of work?
Yeah.
What do you do in your spare time? What's your favorite hobby?
Yeah. Well, my family's had an insurance agency for 47 years, I think now.
Wow.
And so I've always been in the background of that. I think it was 2017, I finally got my license in insurance. And so I've been connected as a licensed agent since then. But as you know, when you run a family business, there's just a lot of different pieces that you have to do. You're constantly updating software and just all the pieces about running a business. Just showing up every day is part of it too. And so I'm loosely connected to that at this point, because for the last 5 years or so, then I took time out because I saw a lot of people coming into the office who had cancer diagnosis. And you see that in insurance, of course, or someone in their family did. And it was breaking my heart that the people that I had known and loved my life and grown up around, some of them were gone way too early. And from cancer, there was so much cancer, at least from what I could see in my area. And I realized that there wasn't enough health food access and health education. So I just decided I am going to start a food co-op, and I'm going to do it no matter what. And it had been done before, but I spent 5 years, 2019 through 24, end of 23, I guess, and just totally ground up. We had literally nothing to start with, and we built ground up. It was even hard at that time to find people to work. It was hard to find people interested. Really hard to get trucks to our area, actually, in rural Minnesota. And so that is what then propelled me to say, I care about my area. I care about the infrastructure in my area. I care about policies in my area. I care about the health of my area. I had people coming in every day telling me, ambulance services, whatever it was, were being shut down or challenged in some way. And so I watched my dad my whole life, being a problem solver, being a policymaker. And I felt called to do that. So then I ran, I don't know if we want to get into this, but the first time I ran, the Republicans were looking for a different kind of candidate with more experience. And I was very much a freedom lover. And I said, everybody has a voice and everybody should take a chance if they feel called to do this. And I kept being told I wasn't going to be chosen as a Republican candidate.
This is back in 2020?
2020.
Okay, when you were running for CD7.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, all right.
And Colin Peterson was in, long-standing, 29 years, Democrat, very conservative, pro-life, pro-gun,
the Blue Dog Democrat is we called him.
Yeah. So I said to my family, I said, all right, well, if they're not going to choose me on the Republican side, I'll run as a Democrat, and I'm going to run pro-life, pro-Trump, and pro-gun. And I did pretty well. I never ran for endorsement, never really took any money, but I did pretty well. And Michelle Fishbach got in, and she did a good job. I still think she's doing a good job, and she has got a good voting record and things. So I ran the next year the same way on the Democratic side, never taking an endorsement, never taking any money from them. But I decided I'm going to go through this process because I was a believer in democracy when starting a co-op. Co-ops are democratically governed, not politically, but textbook, they are democratically governed. And I said, I don't believe that evil lives in the heart of a party. I believe that it lives in some people and good and evil. are in people and not necessarily in party. And I said, textbook style, democracy is a good thing. Well, guess what? In 24, I had a conversation with my family, and they said, well, get in the right party. You're pro-Trump, pro-gun, pro-life. Why are you not running as Republican? I said, well, I don't know. They didn't seem to think I had a chance. So I said, all right, I ran as a Republican in 24. And I'm sorry. So in 22, when I ran, I actually got 40% against the Democrat, the progressive Democrat in our area. So this is a lot of information, but
it's break time, so we're going to do that. Hang tight, everybody. We're going to have more with Alycia Gruenhagen, candidate for the U.S. Senate, on the other side of the break. You're listening to the Jack Tomczak Show. Give us a call, 651-289-4488, 651-289-4488.
I appeal to you to fight. I fully recognize not everyone has a fighting nature, but everyone can help fighters. What's wrong is not to do either. If the troops have no supplies, the troops are worthless. This station is a fighter. So there's a very simple way for you to help this station, and that is just patronize their sponsors.
Help us continue to keep the Twin Cities right by supporting the local businesses you hear on this station.
Chris DeGaulle sees a battle happening in Washington.
You're going to start hearing Hakeem Jeffries and others saying, I think Republican XYZ, who says he or she is in opposition to this continuing resolution, is really the brave Republican. And that's going to be an ego stroke for certain soft, squishy Republicans who don't want to be helpful here. Nothing squish Republicans love more than being complimented by fellow Democrats as brave.
The Chris DeGaulle Show. Weekday mornings at 5 on AM 1280. The Patriot. Intelligent radio. This radio station is always on, but sometimes you need more content than you can take with you anywhere. That's why we invented the SalemPodcastNetwork.com. You'll find all the great hosts on this radio station, plus a few more like Charlie Kirk, Dinesh D'Souza, Trish Reagan, Jenna Ellis, and Dennis and Julie. There's literally no end to what they can teach you. It's like radio on demand, and just like radio, it's always on. Go find out what you're missing. Download the app, SalemPodcastNetwork.com. Record-setting 4-time Emmy Award winner Michelle Tafoya discusses politics and the state of our culture, free from mainstream media pressures. That means you'll find unhindered commentary and astute observations that bring greater depth to the topic at hand. Insight from subject matter experts and thought leaders round out the conversation. The Michelle Tafoya Podcast, free on YouTube, or stream via Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and SalemPodcastNetwork.com.
What does it mean to be a Christian woman in our current culture? How does your faith in Christ relate to the world around you? At times, being a Christian can seem like an overwhelming task in today's busy and challenging landscape. That's why you should visit ibelieve.com, a site designed for Christian women. Whether you're looking for insight, conversation starters for your church group, or just an uplifting message, you'll find it at ibelieve.com. Visit ibelieve.com, a division of Salem Media Group.
Hi, it's Mike Gallagher. I start every day by reading through the stories at Daybreak Insider. It's a look at today's most compelling stories and provides responses from key conservatives in media and politics. Over 250,000 people get Daybreak Insider by email daily, and it's available to you at no cost. Go to daybreakinsider.com and simply plug in your email. That's daybreakinsider.com. In 5 minutes, you will be the most informed person in the office. That's daybreakinsider.com.
Prince. The only icon we have in the state.
Hey,
rest in peace, Bob Dylan.
Foo Fighters covered a Prince song, a couple of them. So I think they had some collaboration, but yeah.
Play your own music, Dave Grohl. Welcome back to the Jack Tomczak Show. I'm Jack Tomczak.
I love their Bee Gees album.
Hi. You have a Bee Gees album?
Foo Fighters?
Really?
The DGs. It's like five songs. It went out electronically. I have it on my phone.
Interesting.
I listen to it all the time. It's spectacular.
It's tough to beat the Bee Gees at the Bee Gees game, though.
It was fun.
Like, they're very good at what they do.
There's only one left, though, now. Just Barry.
Just B. We're talking with Alycia Gruenhagen, a candidate for the Republican endorsement for the U.S. Senate. Alycia, you had previously run for Congress in the 7th in 2020. As a Democrat, and then in 22... Unendorsed, and in 22 as a Democrat again, not endorsed, and you, in the primary, you got 40% against the endorsed Democrat
progressive,
hippie, liberal candidate.
Super progressive. Mm-hmm.
So now, and you were intern for Republican Mark Kennedy back in 2002. Mm-hmm. Your dad is a well-known state senator Republican. Mm-hmm. You have Republican values. You went to the RNC, and now you're running. And you ran in 24 as an unendorsed Republican.
Yes, I did.
As a Republican candidate, not going for the endorsement.
Yes.
Now you're running for the endorsement in 26, Republican endorsement. Okay. Are you aware that this state does not elect Republicans statewide very often? And certainly not recently.
Yeah.
Not since 2002.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's time for a change. And
why not run as a Democrat?
Because I think it's because, number one, I couldn't necessarily deny that I supported Trump from the beginning. And it seems obvious that if you are going to support Trump, you should be in the party that he's in.
Sure.
That's a big part
of it. You
it.
supported Trump the last times when you ran as a Democrat.
Mm-hmm.
Did people point that out? That, hey, that lady might actually be a Republican in wolf's clothing.
They did. And honestly, at that time, because I was running the Natural Food Co-op and it was a democratically governed thing, I actually was walking into it believing that I could carry the values that I carried in a place called the Democratic Party that represented democracy and the people having a voice. And so I really genuinely believe that. Nobody put me up to it. I wasn't trying to be a problem for anybody. And so, yeah.
Well, I don't think, and I've thought this for a very, very long time, for instance, as long as I've been in Minnesota politics, which is super long.
Me too.
Yeah, it's like 30 years.
Me too.
I don't think the majority of Minnesotans agree with what the Democrats say they want and what the Democrats do.
Right.
I think the Republican Party branding is so terrible in this state. As a famous working actor, Benjamin Cruzy, says, you can't spell default without DFL. I think people just vote Democrat because that's what they're used to and that's what their parents did and their grandparents did. I think a lot of Democrat voters agree with us on a great many things.
Mm-hmm. Let me push back on that just a
little bit. But they think Republicans are bad, so they don't vote Republican.
I think that is true. The one thing I would push back on you is like in the 7th and the 8th and the 1st in Greatest Minnesota, that was the line of thinking. Okay. We're never going to win the Iron Range because they've been voting Democrat for 50 years since Grandma back in the 20s or whatever. And it's just always going to be that way. And then Chip Kravac wins in, 10? All of a sudden Republicans kind of make a move. And then, a lot of things in the economy in rural Minnesota, Greatest Minnesota, really start to tank during the Obama administration. And
times they are a-changin'.
Yeah,
Bob Dylan.
Thank you. And things start moving. And now there's very few blue areas in Greatest Minnesota from the border to border. You've got a couple of places like Duluth, but even Duluth, I was talking about this with somebody last week, even Duluth got rid of their progressive mayor because she had screwed up the city so bad. And they have a moderate Democrat, Roger Reinert, now.
Right, that's what I'm saying. Like there are enough moderate Democrats out there who would maybe vote for a common sense Democrat. Because on the Democrat field, as of now, they don't have any common sense Democrats.
Yeah, it's a really fascinating road to go down that we should do a whole show on.
Have you experienced any pushback having run as a Democrat twice and now running as a Republican?
A little bit, but I don't think so. As long as they're listening and the values that I'm talking about are matching their values, it doesn't seem like people are necessarily saying we have a problem with that or one thing I'll tell you, though, the 7th district was for 29 years, it was blue. And that got flipped with Fishbach. And people worked very, very hard. And she's done a great job representing there. I think the state of Minnesota could also go the same way, backing up to what you were just saying. I think the state of Minnesota could also go the same way in that sometimes I think someone gave me this analogy. I'm just going to share it with you. He said, you've got the vet and you've got the butcher, and both are needed. The vet is someone who cares a lot and nurtures to raise an animal, and the butcher has to do his job too, right? So I think you could say the same about blue and red, that Democrats do tend to be nurturing. They do tend to be, connected on a heart level. Republicans are great at cleaning up messes. And we've got a nice
Created
mess.
by whom?
Exactly. Exactly.
Created by
We
the
started.
Democrats.
We don't even need to repeat this, but we'll say $18 billion surplus, right? Went to a
Right.
$6 billion deficit. And so I really do believe that Minnesota is ready for a change. And I think there's a lot of people that feel that way. And so that is probably partly why, too, because when I ran in the 7th, that was my district that was still rural and still had strong values, but it was Democrat, and which is why I was comfortable running on my values there. If I ran blue for the state of Minnesota, I don't think that my values that I've carried, or my whole life would be necessarily welcome among Democrats in the state of Minnesota. So it probably works in the 7th because you've got a lot of decent rural Dems. I don't know if I answered your question.
That makes perfect sense.
It does.
That makes perfect sense.
Yep.
Yes.
That's a good answer.
Okay.
Let me ask you, unless you have a question, Jack, what's popping up in my mind is, so let's say you go through the process. Oh, I don't know if this was asked at the forum or not.
Rural Democrats are closer to normal people
Oh, gosh, yes.
They are. Yeah.
than
Oh, yeah.
the Democrats around here.
They are.
Absolutely.
I agree.
Mm-hmm.
So you're running for endorsement. Are you going to abide by endorsement?
I'm planning on it because when I said at the forum, I just said if you're going to participate in the forums that Republicans put together and they're asking you to abide by this process, I think that if you're in the room and you're showing up for the work and the effort and the money that they've put into that you should play the game the way they ask you to.
So, and forgive me, like I said, that forum, I was there for the forum, and I remember some of the things that were asked and answered. I don't remember all of it though. It was also very late in the day. What's like 2 issues that are
You
driving
got to talk to Kelly by no later than noon, or else she gets real weird, starts forgetting stuff.
No, it's usually like a 7:00 cutoff. Then it's like, all right, let's just have fun.
Yep.
I don't want to talk about serious stuff anymore. What are like 2 issues that you're bringing to the endorsement race, and then also if you win that, then to the general election?
To the endorsement race. Well, they asked me, I guess I'm just going to go this way.
What I mean is what's important to you in terms of issues?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I know this is going to seem a little far off, but honestly, it is important to me, health and agriculture. But guess what? In 2025, we get to say that in the Republican Party because we have RFK fighting for us in that way too. So obviously, having spent 5 years not really making a whole lot of money doing a natural food co-op, that's very close to my heart. And so it's just very important to me. It is very connected to agriculture. That's where I'm from. If I have the opportunity to work on issues that affect health, but also then it goes into transportation and distribution because a lot of it is food access. I heard someone from the University of Minnesota say, why is it that we live in the heart of some of the world's most productive farm country and we don't have access to good food? And that troubles me. That's called Garlic to Grocery. It was an excellent little YouTube video. But yeah, it was from a number of years ago. But I'm just saying, that is very close to my heart. I guess voter ID is really important to me. We saw in the last couple of years how important our election integrity is. And so voter ID is very important to me.
That's a state issue, though. That's a state issue, not a federal issue.
Well, you had Laura Trump running all over the place with, was it Michael Bradcorp? Was that not, or was it, I'm sorry, maybe I got the name wrong. But you had Laura Trump running all over the place doing Protect the Ballot. So it is also, I think, a federal level issue. You have Trump talking about it. Even if it's that which one of the parties is going to say this has to be a hardline issue, we have to get this done. We have to. And Trump's also talked a lot about doing paper ballots and staying away from the electronic ballots. So
yeah, the president's wrong on that one. The states administer elections. So
yeah. Well, and whatever your opinion is, I'm just saying it's been talked about on a federal level a lot. I think
federal politicians can cheerlead good ideas that can be implemented on the state level for sure. Yeah.
There was something released, I think it was yesterday or the day before too, that I don't know if it's the DOJ or something, wants to start auditing state voter rolls.
Yeah.
And Steve Simon came out, it was yesterday, Steve Simon, Secretary of State of Minnesota, came out with feds aren't getting our lists, which is, okay, you're not getting the data. All right, well, I guess, I don't know. I mean, I kind of just, I'm like, well, that's interesting either way. I don't know if I want the feds getting involved or not. I want better leadership in Minnesota on this issue for sure. But I mean, I'm not
$35, the feds can get the voter data.
Somebody else mentioned that too online last night, going, "Why don't they just buy it? Yeah. Anybody can go get it."
Well, we saw it across the whole U.S. Whether it was the presidency or there's different Senate races that people question too. The voter integrity in America is an issue. And whether we just talk about it or whatever we do, it's really important. It's really, what do we have for democracy if we don't have votes that count,
Yeah, you're dead
that
on.
we know are counted. And so that's an important
we have
issue
to
for me.
trust the system, right? And right
Well,
now
we get a system that we do trust. We don't have to just default trust the system we have.
Right.
One more segment.
Okay.
Hang tight. You're listening to the Jack Tomczak Show.
Thank
Give
you.
us a call, 651-289-4488.
It's not too late to transform your backyard into a relaxing oasis with a new hot tub or swim spa at Master Pool and Spa. Save thousands at our midsummer sale. Now is the time to buy. Dream backyards start at masterspas.com. Ditch the screens and reconnect with family and friends. Your new spa will be delivered quickly and professionally. You just fill and chill. 0% financing until 2027. Don't let the warm days of summer pass you by. Get out in the backyard with your dream spa and enjoy your personal oasis. Get your dream backyard now. Master Pool and Spa. 2 locations in St. Louis Park, 394 in Louisiana, and Woodbury at I-94 in Radio Drive. Or visit masterspas.com. That's masterspas.com. Be sure and tell them you heard it on The Patriot.
Did you know that there's one place you can go to hear God's words of hope spoken into your life anytime, anywhere? OnePlace.com. Listen to your favorite Christian programs, read daily devotionals, and get answers to your tough questions, all at OnePlace.com or on the OnePlace app in the Apple and Android app stores. Visit OnePlace.com today.
This radio station is always on, but sometimes you need more content that you can take with you anywhere. That's why we invented the SalemPodcastNetwork.com. You'll find all the great hosts on this radio station, plus a few more, like Charlie Kirk, Dinesh D'Souza, Trish Regan, Jenna Ellis, and Dennis and Julie. There is literally no end to what they can teach you. It's like radio on demand. And just like radio, it's always on. Find out what you're missing. Download the app, SalemPodcastNetwork.com.
Think a Christian education is out of reach? Think again. Twin Cities Tuitions partners with schools like Ambassador College of Bible and Ministry in Hudson, Laurel Community School, and many more to make faith-based learning more affordable. With our half-off tuition program, hundreds of families have made Christian education a reality. Pre-K through 12th grade, your child's future starts here. It's never too late. Explore your options today at TwinCitiesTuitions.com. That's TwinCitiesTuitions.com.
Chances are she's listening to you right now. But Alexa has a lot of competition. Google Nest or Amazon Echo are 2 of the best. All you have to do is turn it on and tell it to listen to what you want. This radio station, of course. When she hears our name, we start playing. Remember, it's as simple as this. Alexa, play The Patriot Minneapolis. That's Play The Patriot Minneapolis. Intelligent radio. We are AM 1280, The Patriot.
The end.
If you're traveling in the North Country Fire.
Why do you do this to me?
I think Bob Dylan is a Minnesota icon.
Really?
I do, yeah.
Yeah.
As much as he hates it here.
Yeah.
I think just the fact he's from here. This song in particular. Girl from the North Country.
He can't sing. He can write.
Okay, Gabe.
Yeah.
My 19-year-old son really loves Bob Dylan.
Okay.
Really?
And Joni Mitchell.
Maybe I got to
And
give Bob Dylan another listen.
I'm with you,
Early,
Jack.
early Bob Dylan.
Yeah, it's the early stuff. Later on, it gets whatever. My favorite Bob Dylan song. Why am I blanking on it right now? The times they are changing.
Huh.
It is a really
Ron,
good song.
Ron Burgundy never heard that song.
Welcome back to Jack Tomczak Show. I'm Jack. That's NASCAR Kelly. We're talking
Hi.
with Alycia Gruenhagen, candidate for the Republican endorsement for the U.S. Senate. What are your issues?
Issues. Okay. So I have a...
See how quickly I did that? You're like, can we get into my issues?
Yeah.
I'm like, yes, right now.
I appreciate that. So I'm just going to rattle them off because you can go on my website and read
After
more.
this, Kelly, we're going to get into your issues.
Got it. I'm well prepared.
Okay, so election integrity, ironically, I just talked about that, is very important to me. Voter ID is important. I think if we don't have voter ID, we don't have a democracy.
I agree.
And so immigration reform, I do support Trump's agenda on strengthening border security. I think he's doing a good job on immigration. But it also needs to be efficient and legal. And one of the problems is that there's been legal immigration available. I don't know that it's always been efficient, so I think we can work on efficiency.
It is not.
There. Yeah, and that's been a struggle for us. Foreign aid, I do believe in limiting foreign aid and prioritizing American.
Let's go back to immigration.
Yep.
How the left and their best friend, the media, are characterizing the immigration issue is that Republicans hate immigration, full stop, and all immigrants, which isn't true. We got a problem with illegal immigration and illegal immigrants. We have no problem, and we support and applaud legal immigration, and we understand.
Celebrate it.
Yeah.
I mean, going back to the RNC, there were immigrants that have come to the country, made themselves successful, and are so appreciative of America and everything, and they talked about becoming an American, and that's celebrated by Republicans.
Well, there's a bunch of problems with illegal immigration that you probably know of. One of them is crime.
Yep.
We've got rape, murder, abuse, severe sex abuse in that industry. We've got the fentanyl problem.
Yep.
There's a lot of problems that come along with illegal immigration. And so imagine that you're in a big stadium. I don't know if this is the best example. Imagine that you're in a big stadium and you've got everybody coming in without a ticket. And then one person or at least a couple people who are in charge have to stand up and say, we've got to solve this problem. This isn't how this was supposed to go. It's not going to be fun. It's not going to be easy, but it's important to do. Basically, we've got ourselves into a mess because of what the Biden years did to us, honestly, I'm going to say. And maybe there was some stuff leading up to that, but they definitely were the big portion of that, I think. And so we've got to clean up the problem. We do. And so I'm just going to say I support this alligator Alcatraz too, because as far as I understand, what they're doing is they're taking the money that was going into putting up illegals in hotels, and they're putting it into this alligator Alcatraz. And as far as I understand, it's for people that have criminal backgrounds. And so also, as far as I know too, Trump is offering $1,000 to anybody who wants to go back to their country and re-enter legally. $1,000. And so
deal.
I was just talking to my dad about this. And so so we're giving people options, and to be honest, it's those that maybe have some of the wrong motives for wanting to stay that
Kelly,
are ignoring
we
all
can
that
pretend
stuff.
we don't have papers and say we'd like to go back to Ireland.
There we go.
Yep.
So it's a free trip there, and then $1,000 you get the plane ticket back.
I like it. Let's do it.
So it's not fun. A lot of what Trump has to do right now is not fun. But do I believe it's necessary? I do. Yep. And I believe that it's important that we do it. And so how we do it, let's pray that God gives us wisdom. But I do believe that we have to do it. And so
I have a question for you too. Talking about like Trump, it very clear that you support the president and different initiatives. Would you say is there anything that you kind of go, I don't think the president is in the
Good
right
question, Kelly.
in the right direction on this, or
What,
maybe
do you
not
disagree
handling-
with the president on anything?
Yeah, do you disagree with President Trump on anything?
I don't know necessarily. There might be some issues, but here's the only thing is that I really believe it's important for us. I said this at my last interview, actually with Mitch Berg. I said, I think we've got
Nobody
to really...
listens to that guy.
He was great, but yeah.
He is great.
When I did an interview with him last time, I remember I was saying, I think we've got a really good leader in office right now. Nobody's perfect. Nobody makes the right judgment every time. Does it mean that we can't still pick apart the issues and talk about them within the party, within just our communities, and talk about them and educate? He doesn't know everything. He needs to be educated on some things too. I think he's grown a lot as a leader between 2016 elections and now. I think he's gotten educated about a lot of different issues and learned more. So do I think he probably has some things to learn? Absolutely. At the same time, when I was here last time, I said, I think that when you have a good leader in office, and we do, there's 3 principles that you want to remember, and that's follow him, follow him, follow him. And that's because we all know this, that Republicans are great at being independent and striking out on their own. But it is important to get things done. 4 years sounds like a lot, maybe when you're 4 years old. But the older that you get, 4 years goes by really fast.
It does.
And there's a lot to get done.
Yeah.
And so, yeah.
Well, another question then, do you think, running on a follow him kind of thread, how does that work in Minnesota when he got close in 2016 got blown out of the water in 20, didn't do so great in 24. What would connect with the general electorate in the state of Minnesota to get you elected that didn't vote for Trump?
Mm-hmm.
I know that's kind of I'm throwing it at you.
It's okay.
So
yeah. Well, first of all, I think you'd have to look at the numbers again too, because I'd want to look at the numbers. And I challenge anyone listening to go look at the numbers again, because you've got the popular vote, and I think he actually did better than most people are necessarily acknowledging in Minnesota. There's that, but then also, like for instance, you've got Joe Thompson, this U.S. attorney.
Yeah, the acting U.S. attorney.
He's doing such a good job. I think he's doing such a good job. And he's such a bright light in Minnesota. He's such a refreshing voice and face, I think. And so I think there are people that can lead the way to show both Democrats and conservatives and Republicans that we can use common sense and still be reasonable, still be, and still be professional. And so I guess I'm not sure if that answers your question, but I think it starts with a few people leading by example of this is how this can be done. Yeah. Honestly, I love my dad. I think he's done an excellent job. I know people on both sides of the aisle. When I go up to the Capitol, I meet senators or representatives on both sides of the aisle. They say sometimes, I haven't always agreed with your dad, but I really appreciate him, respect him, like working with him. I think there are people that can speak to both sides of the aisle and educate on issues, and they're respected for it. And so
I think that's something with your dad that I have seen over many years of watching and being involved in Minnesota politics is I think he kind of has evolved in a great way. But I think from the beginning, he's had the respect of people in the room for sure.
Yeah. We better say his name.
Alycia, your website, ALYCIA, the number 4, Senate.com, Alycia4Senate.com, but Alycia spelled in a really unique way.
Kind of like Alice. Yes. It can also be AlyciaGruenhagen.com. There are 2 ways to get there right now. So
minute left. You get the last word.
Oh, thank you. Okay.
Take like 45 seconds. I got to wrap it up at the end.
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
now we're down to 30.
Yeah. I'm just looking forward to this election. I think, speaking of evolving, that part of the candidate process is evolving. And that's why who I am right now might not be the person that I sound like at the end, because you have to find your message and find your words. It's in me, but you have to find ways of letting people understand. So I would just say I'd want to work to represent you, work to make life better in Minnesota, work to just honestly get some of the goals accomplished the Republican Party has set out. And so God bless Minnesota.
Cool.
All right. Thank you very much, Alycia Gruenhagen,
Alycia.
candidate for the Republican endorsement for the U.S. Senate. Her website, AlyciaGruenhagen.com or Alycia4Senate.com.